shame her or threaten to drag her caregiver in forcibly like Lio did. I'm a lot calmer than Lio would allow himself. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I do agree with Obscured. Like, you can have your criticisms of Rosa, but you can also have like a calm collective conversation. Like, Rosa isn't, I've been saying it this entire time. Rosa isn't a good person at all. Rosa has done their bad things too, like sending the gore picture to people. I don't agree with that. I don't know why Rosa did that. That's gross. I don't like that. So yeah, I agree with you, Obscured. Max says normally I would agree with it being just bullying, but it kind of stops just being bullying once the person is bullied, or once the person being bullied is being blackmailed to say that otherwise they'll get abused. Yeah, it wasn't just like one occurrence. It was also Lio like having multiple live streams before like the 4-hour call. Like, he had 2 live streams with Rosa yelling at her, and then also that 4-hour call yelling at Rosa. So it was like, he can't just say, I did this one time. I only yelled at the handicap girl for 4 hours in the call. No, it wasn't just one time, Lio. You did it on 2 live streams prior. And then you decided to do it with Peaches in a 4-hour call because you have nothing else better to do with your life. So I do agree with you.
Truly, I want to open up by saying again that the things I said were wrong. I am not going to make an excuse for them. I never have, and she reserves the right to be mad at me. I'm not saying she can't be frustrated by that thread. What she doesn't have the right to do is lie about my intent and paint me as a monster to others.
I think it's hilarious that Hiten spent 2 years lying about me, my intentions, my actions, painting me as an aggressor in my own abuse, turning me into the villain of my own abuse, and had no problem with that until 3 people consecutively came to her and told her that she fucked up. But I spent a couple of weeks talking about things she actually did with a lot of proof, as we'll get into, and suddenly I'm lying about her intent and painting her as a monster. Okay, we'll see how those statements hold up.
So Barry says it's just sad because Senate can only dogpile vulnerable people like Rosa or really stupid people like Bruce. So I do agree, Barry. They will only bring people in like that. Like, when a certain doxing situation was happening, I demanded a conversation with Lio in the Thunderdome, and Lio said no. Like he won't have a conversation with me. The Thunderdome was rejected. So, yeah.
So here's the thing. I did apologize for those things twice. Once publicly and once in private. The private apology came first. It was expressed that they wanted the original thread down, and a public apology made, so I did.
I think it's a little weird that she's bringing this up as though it's some kind of reveal when I've been transparent when all of this blew up about the fact that Hiten apologized. And my response to the first apology is literally
I think Heden's pronouns are she, her.
my pinned tweet. I guess you could say that I never explicitly called the second one an apology, and that's fair, I guess. But I did talk about the contents of both apologies publicly already and directly showed them. A few people, like Musha, have criticized me for carrying on a situation that has already been resolved with this whole thing, which is just code word for she apologized, so shut up and move on. When I made it very clear in my public response to her one and only public apology that I was not happy with how she minimized all her horrendous actions towards me as just some out-of-pocket behavior because it was insulting. And before anyone jumps me for being too critical of Heten's apology, I'm not really interested in taking into consideration how other people, some of whom participated in the public shitting on me and still haven't apologized at all, feel about how I talk about the person that did the absolute most to lie about my abuse, make me the villain of it, and sympathize with my abuser, only to then delete her thread and issue a 3-tweet long apology that doesn't mention my name once, where she spends 2 sentences retracting what she said in the vaguest way possible after
Yeah, he won't have a conversation with everyone, Leah. He's such a scary cat. He totally.
2 years. That's straight up not good enough. Especially when the first apology you dropped off at my door through Aaron was prefaced with you talking about all the things you didn't want to do for an apology. We'll get into why I hated that apology in more detail later because she brings it up. But newsflash, guys, basing your apologies for the harm you did to others on your convenience is wildly inappropriate. I never accepted Heten's apologies. In fact, the aforementioned pinned tweet ends with me saying fuck you to Hiten and everyone who ever sided with her. So how anyone got the idea that things were resolved after I publicly denounced her apology is wild to me.
Why did it take a year?
I mean, I'm the kind of person that doesn't really like to accept apologies either. Like, when people like come in and apologize to me, I'm not really quick to forgive like at all. I'll normally just tell people to shove their apology up their ass. Like, if it's somebody in my personal life coming to me and saying sorry, like I know you face to face, I'll accept the apology because I know you face to face. But if it's somebody on the internet coming to me and being like, yeah, I'm sorry I said this thing to you over a computer screen, no, like I don't care that you said it. I don't care. Like I'm not gonna accept your apology because I don't care that you said it over a computer screen.
Simple. I didn't know anyone had a problem. Julie and I have blocked each other. Safe to say I don't like her and she doesn't like me. Once again, I respect a boundary, and when I'm blocked, I don't circumvent it to watch the people I don't like. If I blocked you, I wouldn't want to see you. Simple as that. However, nobody ever reached out to tell me where I crossed a line at the time, so naturally, I didn't think I did.
I'm going to say this next part, and I'm going to try not to sound like a total bitch, but this needs to be said. Hiten, if no one really did come to you like you said, which did not happen, we'll get into it in a minute, there's a reason why people do not approach you, and that is because of how you are. In private and in public, you will twist people's words, make things about you that are not about you, ascribe intent that is not there, talk down to people, and be an absolute chore to deal with. I think the argument that we had back in 2019 that you pushed me to post by lying about it proved that a lot more than whatever the hell you thought it proved. In that argument, you started by telling me how I felt about the topic at hand, and when I told you to
So these DMs read, if Ponder made a video, I would be furious, never speak to her again. Delulu, calm down. Hiten was putting words in your mouth. She was just stating how stressful the situation would be for Eugenia and using that as a reason as to why Jacqueline's tactic was a great one. Delulu says, no, she did. And then direct quotes, how do you not see that telling the entire effing internet the very intimate details about her home situation, sharing the embarrassment of having 5150 being called on her and having the group of her closest friends be the ones to do it is incredibly stressful and demeaning. Then Hiten says, yeah, my point was that she was an awful or that it was an awful thing for her to do and that it was a huge ass effing mistake, and you're saying it's fine. Delulu says, how do you not even see how that's stressful for her? I literally said anything like that. Then Hiten says, so then why do you think she was okay with it? Cuts off there. So then why do you think this was an okay thing to do? ?
stop and clarify that I was just asking to hear about other apparent solutions because nothing from what I had heard at that point convinced me that they would work. You just
Then Delulu says, I'm saying I'm having trouble seeing the alternatives work.
Sended me with, well, you've never been in this situation before, I'd imagine. Like, Hiten, neither had you. No one in your life had a giant platform that entirely centered around and profited from actively suffering from the most deadly mental illness.
Yeah, she did. So, she not only supported Phagos, but she also defended Phagos
in the world. And when I asked you to elaborate on the possible solutions for the situation, you started screaming at me about how I was demanding you divulge personal stories about self-harm and suicidality, even when I was directly telling you that I was not asking for that. And I know that this argument happened literally 5 years ago, but given more recent arguments I've seen that I choose not to disclose right now, take that with what you will, I would be lying if I said these trains aren't still present in the current day. You also straight up don't get to say that no one ever told you anything. No, you were confronted, several times even, publicly about your tweets and actions towards me. You just deflected and dodged and lied whenever you were called out, much like you still are. You don't get to say, but no one ever told me I crossed a line as an excuse for why it took this long, when that is exactly what I told you when I initially responded. Since the beginning, from when all of this happened, I called your threat about me victim shaming. I called you out for telling me I'd be responsible for Phagos killing themselves. I called you out for lying about my intentions and comparing me to a serial abuser. And I told you didn't know me well enough to make the character adjustments like you had. And I told you to stay in your lane. And what did you do? You completely ignored everything I called out and deflected, saying that the reason why you don't talk to me anymore is because I tried to pry private mental health information about one of your friends out of you, which was a lie about that private argument that you probably didn't think I could argue. But surprise, I could. And when I proved to the public that you had lied about what happened in that argument, did you fess up and apologize? Did you retract anything? No,
Oh, that's not surprising.
You accused me of stalking you and said that if I said anything more about you shit-talking me, then I would be block evading to harass you. Then fast forward to October 2022 when you were directly confronted about the tone policing in your comments of the video where you bitched for 40 minutes about being tone policed and having your victimhood denied by a public figure. And instead of reflecting about your actions, you lied about me and claimed I did things that straight up didn't happen and ended off by saying that I stooped to Phagos level and was an aggressor in my own abuse. So you want to come on here and be all like, well, no one told me. Hiten, you're insufferable to deal with.
I just think it's absolutely insane that like that Hiten is like unironically comparing Truly, sorry, I hope I'm getting their name right. unironically comparing Chuli to Phagos, like their abuser. That's absolutely disgusting. So gross. Like if the tables were turned, if anybody compared a victim to their abuser in any situation, they would be losing their minds. Hiten would be losing their mind. It would be the end of the world. Nukes would be dropped. People would be canceled.
Which is probably why you're surrounded by yes men, half of which are probably too scared to confront you about anything you do, because this is how you are. It should not be the responsibility of other people, especially other victims like Clown and Ponder,
I'm part Italian. Yeah, I'm Jewish Italian.
to make sure that you aren't being a disgusting human being. Seriously, how fucking old are you? And also, if I'm being honest, you don't deserve a private confrontation for being a horrendous piece of shit in public. You deserve to be put on blast publicly, which is why I did it.
A few people have asked why it was sent through Aaron and not directly. Well, earlier on, I had been told that I was asked not to be present for the Phagos call in the Senate by Chuli. Naturally, I assumed this meant that she didn't want to be around me. So I respected the boundary and sent it through an intermediary I knew we could both trust. It's also why I haven't attempted to make contact since. When people express they don't want to be around me, I don't put myself in proximity to them.
Hiten, that's not what happened and you know it. First of all, the screenshots don't align with the timeline you gave us. I find it really weird that she tries to paint herself as someone noble that's just trying to respect my boundaries because I had asked for her not to be present in the Phagos Senate call, and that's why she sent it through a third party, when that apology was sent to me through Aaron over a month before Phagos even asked Leigha for a call in the Senate.
Wait, what?
To be put on blast publicly, which is why I did it.
A few people have asked why it was sent through Aaron and not directly. Well, earlier on, I had been told that I was asked not to be present for the Phagos call in the Senate by Chuli. Naturally, I assumed this meant that she didn't want to be around me. So I respected the boundary and sent it through an intermediary I knew we could both trust. It's also why I haven't attempted to make contact since. When people express they don't want to be around me, I don't put myself in proximity to them.
Hiten, that's not what happened and you know it. First of all, the screenshots don't align with the timeline you gave us. I find it really weird that she tries to paint herself as someone noble that's just trying to respect my boundaries because I had asked for her not to be present in the Phagos Senate call, and that's why she sent it through a third party, when that apology was
12/11/2023. What do you want? The second time you've sent me another friend request. I was just curious on how I chose to keep being a creep when I haven't really been doing much of anything outside of just making dumb shit on Twitter that I've since deleted on YouTube, and that just has fan content on it. What aspect of that is creepy? And yeah, it's not made up, but in a way that I especially told you about when I was in a call with you, Lio, I really do not give a shit if I have to dive into a Senate call and prove any sort of innocence on my end. Innocence on my end, but I really hate to just be told I'm a freak and shit without any, and I do mean any backing on it. Sure, we can schedule a Senate call. Yippee. And then on 11/5/2023, Hiten, hey, I asked Aaron to send you this because I really don't want to get into a call. If you can just sum it up here, neither of us like each other. So she is directly contradicting herself. She's sitting there saying, I sent it to Aaron because I was told not to be around, right? But right here, she's saying, I sent it to Aaron because I don't want to be around. So, like, which is it? That's like a direct contradiction.
Sent to me through Aaron over a month before Phagos even asked Leigha for a call in the Senate. And that is because the timeline is wrong. Because Hiten is lying. Hiten did not send that apology through Aaron because she didn't want to disrespect my boundaries. She literally explained why she did it the way that she did in the beginning of her apology. I don't know
because she didn't want to. That's why.
She's acting like we can't read the words she herself typed out that very obviously contradict the story she's telling. A very big thing that's missing from here is that Hiten will later talk about how 3 people, that being Lyle Convoy, Aaron Tempest, and Ponders Rocket, approached her.
I mean, again, guys, if you're going to lie, the very least you could do is just be good at it. Like, that's all I can say. Hiten, you're not really good at lying.
This year, as in after both the private and public apologies. That's not how that happened. You see, how the story actually goes is I approached Leigha on September 18th of last year while Ponder, Clown, and I were working on our Fagos video, which is still in progress, and I asked him if he could record
Truly, hey Leigha, we were working on a video right now and I'm having some concerns about calling out how the community reacted to me blowing up at Fagos after she revealed that she had lied about everything, and me trying to call out the victim blaming back then. Things like, I don't care about outing a predator. You just don't want your fifis hurt when you're being called out for shit behavior. You are a manipulative, spiteful bitch who wants to win a fight, not help the victim. You're almost entirely beyond hope if you think that's victim blaming. If Fagos winds up dead, we all know who's to blame for pushing that. You're egotistical and showing off. Grow up and start acting like an adult. I know the call. I know in the call we've had in July, you said that I should fight back against these people again. If they start pulling the same stuff, would you be willing to voice that support in recording that we can include in a video? Also would have DM'd this, but I don't think I have you added so I can direct message. Then Leigha says, let me add you. And Truly says, okay.
a snippet denouncing the things said about me the day Fagos video dropped, like he had in a call prior to all of this where I explained the Fagos situation to.
Then Truly says both accounts and he says, ye. Just say yes. Like, why, why do people in the art commentary community have to like type cringe shit? Like, just type normally. Just say yes. Yes. Just, Leigha, you're 38 years old. Just type normally, please. Like, type like a 38-year-old man, okay?
To him. He asked for proof, and I sent it to him, which included Heaton's tweets. He also asked why I wanted his take in particular, and I was honest and said it was because of his.
Gilded. Like, oh my God, you guys, you're triggering me. Stop typing ye in the chat. No ye. I type yes. Finish the word yes. Not ye. Yes. Do yes. Y-E-S. Yes. No ye. No yees. Yes. No yeets. Yes. Yes. No. You guys are funny. What about yeah? Yeah works. Yeah is okay. Or yes, you could totally do the Texas thing and say yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Or C. C works. Or
Leigha Something! Thank you for your donation! Thank you, Leigha Something. We appreciate you.
Pudgy, thank you. Thank you for being a gym rat for 5 months. I really appreciate it. Or yeehaw, yes, but not ye. Like, don't do this. Leigha's 38 years old and he types like a Zoomer. It's like, Leigha, you're 38. You're 38 years old. You are older than me. I am 35 years old. I don't type like a Zoomer. I type like a millennial. Type like a millennial, dude. Like, what is this? He was like, he even does like the yes queen. Like, no, please don't. Please don't. Please stop. You make me cringe so much when he does the yes queen. Don't. Like, stop. It's like my dad trying to be cool. Like, no, dad, stop. No, stop. I don't do that. I'm 35 years old. I don't do that stuff. I don't try and be the cool Zoomer. All I try and do is just like act my age. Like, or yeah, like the skibbity, like, what is that? Skibbity Ohio Riz? Like, what is this? I don't know what that is. I don't
Leigha Something! Thank you for your donation! Thank you, Leigha Something. We appreciate you.
I don't try and do like the whole like the whole friggin' Zoomer talk that Lio does. Lio does that Zoomer talk. And I know where he got the Yes Queen from. I know where he got it from. We all know where he got the Yes Queen from. And he was doing it Bloodsports where he was like, Yes Queen. It's like, oh my God, Lio, please stop, dude. You're so... Dude. Chthonic, don't be doing that. Chthonic's like a death metal head. Chthonic echoes like a death metal head, and even Chthonic doing it is like, oh my God, Chthonic, stop. Like, stop. I'm gonna make a shirt that says "Yee." Should I like? I'm gonna make merch that says that. Should we? Are you demure or brat? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what demure means. I don't know what brat means. I'm just Leah. Oh my God, you guys are funny. Okay, so let's continue back to the DMs. Note to Lio, please type like a 38-year-old man. Don't type like a 20-something-year-old. Let's type like we're in our age group. Okay, guy? Okay, my guy. I'll have to repost your first one and I'll listen to the Phagos one. I think I know someone that has it to see what was known at the time. Then Julie says, sounds good. All of these tweets are still up too. Then Lio says, any specific reason why you want my take? Then Julie says, back when this happened, a lot of people, specifically creators in the community, either agreed with these takes explicitly or chose to say nothing. I can think of two people on Twitter at the same time who said anything against what people were saying about me for having a reaction to the fact that it was a lie. Basically, no one had my back, and it made me think of what happened to me was right. I know when I told you about this back in July, you said it was wrong, so I thought it'd be nice to have someone known to the community to actually voice that.
In the community, which at the time was very sturdy. Lio
And then Lio says, suppose that makes sense.
did not make a recording at the time and instead went to Hiten to talk to her about her tweets. I had mixed
Dude, Lio's a snake. Snaky Lio. He didn't make a recording. He went to Hiten.
feelings about this, but I've since learned that he didn't make one at the time because hopeless motherfucking peaches made it their life goal to make sure that Lio and the community didn't trust us in the slightest because we just use him. So, the very reason why I felt I should ask someone with a stable standing in the community in the first place. Wild that they would say that about me given their history of events. These fucking people, man. Anyways, I don't hold anything personally against Lio for that. And to talk about Lio for a second, actually, I am extremely disappointed in him this year because on one hand, I do not approve of practically anything he's done since the Cat Slayer, Senate 2.0, whatever the fuck we're calling it, has been created. I think I was pretty evidently upset in the chat.
Dude, base. I love this Chuli person. I like you. I like you.
Of Streamline Workshop and Mali's stream about him
Bro, like you. Love this reference. Love the Mali reference.
over what I was seeing and hearing. But I also want to address that Lio has done good things for me. The Phagos call being the most obvious instance of that. But also how he defended me in the Cat Slayer when the server was really mad at me and spreading a ton of false information about me.
Look, I think it just needs to be recognized, and everybody's talking about how, well, oh, Chuli's wanting, sympathy in droves. I don't think that's what Chuli wants, and frankly, even if that is what they wanted, this full-grown adult dicked with them when they were a kid, harassed them, stalked them, gaslit them, got them to believe they did horrible things when they had literally nothing to do with anything because it wasn't real, and then got dogged on for essentially victory lapping when Phagos was running away from everything. Like, yeah, I think Chuli's due a little more than a bit of sympathy. Like, that does something to people. Like, I don't understand why this is a difficult concept. I think
Yeah, it's good that Lio's defending Chuli. I like this part.
there's some leniency to be given. I think that here's the problem when it comes to interpersonal things, and Lord knows I struggle with this too. I mean, obviously, how many times have you heard me yell, "You're X age, how do you not know?" Julie, from what I can tell, from what very little I do know, is they probably had to grow up pretty doggone fast. They're going to be more competent at 19 than perhaps other people would be, maybe even perhaps more than I was. So I think that it's not fair to compare yourself to somebody else at that time frame. I get what Julie's saying, but not everybody has the same equipment. So I think that there has to be some nuance there. I think that in situations like this, there has to be a wider range, and there also has to be a lot more mercy and grace shown. But that's also my personal opinion, having dealt with a lot of stuff like this. Now, what I will say that I think needs to 100% come to a stop here is everybody immediately wanting to be negative or dog on Chuli without understanding where Chuli's coming from here. Because you got to keep in mind, they dealt with a lunatic for a while, and then when they finally start taking the power back, they get dogged on by no small part of their.
How much do you want to bet that what Leigha is saying right now about what Chuli is or how much do you want to bet that what Leigha is saying right now, Hiten doesn't like? Let's see.
Their own community that had to be extremely isolating. So no, I don't blame Chuli for being angry.
So on one hand, I'm thankful for those things, and I don't want anyone to say that I'm not. But it almost upsets me even more because then I know that this man who was doing what I would consider, in very brief terminology, pretty bad things, is also.
OMG, Leah, you're too easy. There's no reason to like this person. Am I too easy? Am I easy? Am I gilded?
Capable of demonstrating such well-articulated, sweet, unapologetic empathy towards me to a crowd who doesn't want to empathize with me. So that's where I'm at right now. I can give credit where credit is due, but I also don't support Leigha being in charge of things that carry weight and can have an effect on other people, because it's evident to me that he's not capable of handling these situations properly. So anyways, back to Hiten, our main star. Fast forwarding from September to November 5th of last year, I am just trying to enjoy my life. I just turned 21. I was getting ready to see Doja Cat in concert for her Scarlet tour, which was amazing, by the way. And out of nowhere, I get a message from Aaron Tempest relaying Heaton's private apology. I immediately did not like this apology for several reasons, so let's get into it.
Hey, I asked Aaron.
I mean, too easy to impress. Perv. Well, okay.
To send you this because I
Probably. You're probably right, Gilded.
really don't want to get into a call if I can just sum it up.
I'm just like, I guess I'm just like chilled and laid back, where I just like I'm very open-minded. Like super open-minded. Maybe even too open-minded. I don't know.
Here. Neither of us like each other, and neither of us need the stress.
I know we're only 2 sentences in, but I'm going to be honest. This is a really shitty way to preface an apology, and it's really insulting that you think you could just come on here and tell the public that you sent this apology out of respect for my boundaries, when this is literally how you started the first apology you ever sent me after the 2 years where you were continuously disgusting in the things you said about me and the abuse I faced. The fact that you thought you, as the person who did the harm, could come up to me and just go, I don't want to get into a call because we both don't like each other and we don't need to. As the person apologizing and just drop it off at my doorstep without any kind of public retraction, or even asking if there was anything I wanted you to do to help remedy the harm you caused, it really just showed me how much you meant this apology and cared about accountability, which is barely at all, if at all. She then went on to apologize for insinuating that Fagos didn't hurt or victimize me, and actually empathize with me for the one and only time during this entire debacle, talking about how she should have known better than to downplay my pain as that's something that's happened to her. But we'll see as I'm about to talk more in detail about how long that lasted. After this was sent to me,
It didn't last that long, probably.
I knew I didn't like it, but I also didn't want to just react right out of the gate. I wanted to wait and see if she, had the good sense to correct what she publicly said about me. I asked anyone I had talked to about Hiten if they had said anything, and I found
To the tune of Lionel Richie, I'm easy like Sunday morning. I should play that song.
out that the reason why Hiten apologized to me was because Ponder had been in a VC with some SCC people and candidly talked about what Hiten did without naming her. Aaron Tempest, who was in that call, was able to figure out just from the description of victim shaming that it was Hiten, and when asked if that's who Ponder was talking about, had it confirmed to him by her. Aaron basically immediately left the call, and the next day I ended up with that apology from Hiten. So a month went by and nothing. No retraction, all of the thread still up. Come to find out that that's because she still stood by the rest of her thread. The claiming that
Oh, because it sounds like Heaton's taking a ton of non-action, just like how Hiten judged Ephraim for taking non-action. This sounds very hypocritical, Hiten. This sounds super hypocritical. Super duper. Super duper hypocritical, Hiten. Very interesting how the tables have turned, Missy.
that I gaslit Fagos, the tone policing, the guilting me by saying that if I kept tweeting, then Fagos might kill themselves and it'll be my fault. Yeah, she stood by all of that still. And I know that because that's what she told Ponder when she found out that Clan and I had asked her not to be present in the Fagos Senate call. Yeah, remember how she said she heard about that and just naturally assumed that we must not want to be around her? Well, that didn't happen. Hiten immediately
Someone's calling Cap. Yeah, totally.
contested that request to Ponder, demanding to know why we were trying to go above her and just being exactly how I described her earlier. And that is what led to the third confrontation about her thread and what finally made her take down the entire thing and issue a public apology. So Hiten, how are you going to sit here and say that I'm lying about your intent? Hiten, you're lying about your intent. Even when you speak your truth about what your intent apparently is, it's so—
Okay, so I hate to be a pause, Andy, but I'm just going to preface this, okay, guys? We don't know intention, okay, guys? And the only reason why we don't know intention is because it's hard when you're trying to improve, when you're trying to prove intention, unless you don't have like an explicit admission of guilt or admission of malice, or like that person is explicitly saying, I did this action because I effing hated you, or I effing had this like malice behind the action that I did. You don't know one's intention, so you don't want to assume one's intention, right? Making the argument of intention is like an incredibly hard thing to do. So when we move forward in this video and we argue intention, just understand that we are taking Chuli's actions, or we are taking Chuli's words and argument seriously, but understand that it's very hard to prove Heden's intention. Okay, we're going to be a little bit charitable towards Hiten in this video, although they're very much caught in a hypocritical situation right now, and they're very much being a hypocrite. We still don't know their intentions.
easily disprovable because you would have to be a time traveler in order for—
Pattern of actions can also inform intent. That very true, Max. Very true.
it to even be possible.
You make a good point right there.
My truth and the truth about what you did and why you did it comes from your literal words that you speak and type. If you don't want to be painted as a monster, do not fucking act like a monster.
Not true, Leigha. Leigha Something lies a good way to prove intent. Yeah, God, you're kind of owning me out right there too. Lies could also be shown as intention. Yeah. God, Gilded, fuck you, dude. Why do you have to own me, dude? Why do you gotta own me?
Especially if you're going to then claim I'm lying when I go off about what you have said, and your only alternative for your reasoning is either literally physically impossible or stupidly unbelievable. I'm gonna go ahead and move on now and let a decent chunk of the document play, as there's a lot that Hiten explains, so I'm just gonna let her do all of that before interjecting again.
In regards to the comments about tone policing, I've made it no secret that I don't like victory lapping, but I have to make clear why. I don't like the idea of dancing on someone's downfall publicly, because I feel like it's disrespectful to the people who were victimized and turned something very dangerous into entertainment for bystanders. If Chuli wanted to celebrate, they were more than allowed to. I just wouldn't have done it publicly. We're allowed to disagree, but I don't like it. Never have. Didn't like it when people did it for me
Hi, Astra. You didn't miss a whole lot.
either, as a matter of fact. Knowing what I know now, I understand it.
Leigha, it's because it's the Pooh Man. Yeah.
I personally wouldn't have done it, but
He's clearly superior than me.
condemning it publicly was not correct on my end as well. I also thought, and still think, that prodding at people who are unstable is dangerous. As someone who has not only been that unstable, but has been surrounded by the aftermath of that instability, I don't condone it. Not when Chuli does it, and not when Lio does it either. I've told the old man I'll never push those things, because I know that if something happens, the suffering that follows is on my hands, and I can't take that. Agree to disagree if you want, but having spent most of my life surrounded by the aftermath of suicides
Dude, Gilded, that's nasty. We don't want to know that.
that have been both painful for the victim and the people around them at the time, I'm a little more cautious than most.
I fully respect that someone may have reasons for not personally wanting to do something or refusing to condone a type of behavior, but what confuses me is that that was never the issue here. No one had a problem with what Hiten personally refuses to do in her situations. I'm sure most people didn't give a shit. Where the issue lies is how you tried to control what I was allowed to say to someone that abused me, and how you did that. Like, it's interesting to me that you talk about how you think victory lapping is disrespectful to victims, despite me being the youngest victim of hers, but forget to mention that the only way your standards would be applicable to me is if you didn't see me as a victim, which is exactly what happened. Also, to be frank, I have my own doubts about this whole paragraph. I'm not going to doubt your experiences, but I am going to doubt the stability and consistency of the morality you say stems from those experiences, because you have allowed, endorsed, and even done everything that you're saying here is horrible and that you would never do. Yet it's clear to me that you either intentionally are trying to categorize your actions as something else, or are so biased that you can't even see what you're actually doing. Because I will say this right now, it is ridiculous to speak about this as though there was only one way in which the way you talk about someone online can turn the damage they did into entertainment and push them into a negative or potentially dangerous headspace. And you are too grown to be using personal trauma as a morality compass that everyone everyone else needs to follow. Like, Hiten, you insinuated that me simply putting you on blast on Twitter in the mean way that I did was going to land you in the hospital. So does that mean that no one is allowed to do Twitter callouts or even just directly call?
Wait, what? Are you serious? This is not an April Fool's joke. I'm locking the account and probably not going to be streaming this week. I've cracked. I've tried to be strong enough and I can't effing take it anymore. I'm exhausted. If I'm lucky, I won't end up in the hospital this time. Take your W, I guess. And this was just recently. I mean, one could speculate that this is just plain old, like, black and white manipulative. You're just manipulating the situation right there. You are actively saying this to try and prevent people from even speaking out against you because you could possibly end up in the hospital. Like, this is kind of a scummy thing to do right here, Hiten.
Way that I did was going to land you in the hospital. So does that mean that no one is allowed to do Twitter callouts or even just directly call someone out in a mean way? If that's the case, then you're definitely in the hot seat, considering that's, you know, the reason why your channel ever got as big as it did. I also feel the need to point out the wild
They're pulling a Peaches. Totally. I very much agree, Laka.
absurdity that Hiten is talking about how she's extra cautious not to do things that she thinks might put people over the edge because she just can't handle how it would feel if anyone was pushed over the edge, and how she hates victory lapping so much because it turns trauma and hurt into entertainment. All while modding for the Senate server, as in the server that recorded and published pieces of shit, and sometimes not, getting dunked on for other people to watch and listen to, with the owner even referring to those videos several times as drawing background noise. Is that not literally turning others' trauma into entertainment? And I'm not even saying that inherently needs to be a bad thing. I was legitimately helped by Lyle through the Senate server.
She also called Rosa's panic attack fake again. Like, again, guys, we have to care about Heden's mental health, but Hiten doesn't have to care about anybody else's mental health. Again, bro, if you can't take the heat, then don't dish it out. It's so simple. So simple.
Server when he allowed me, Ponder, and Clown to jump Fagos when she tried to lie about us. That call was publicized, and I'm gonna be honest, was pretty goddamn entertaining, but it's still turning trauma into content for others to consume, is it not? You also state that you think prodding at unstable people is dangerous and that you would never do it, but again, your descriptions are too vague, because, like, realistically, what counts as prodding at people who are unstable? Because at face value, that certainly sounds like it can apply to some of the things that you have defended, like the Rosa call, and you know what, let's go further, because that also sounds very applicable to your videos, like this one. How are you going to say that you think prodding at emotionally unstable people and victory lapping on their excommunication is dangerous, and then make a video titled Good Riddance with a thumbnail of you looming over the cowering people you're ostracizing, wherein you continuously scream into your microphone about them, tout how they'll never be allowed back into the community, and even out new accounts that one of them is making?
Tabi makes an alt account because of course she does. She wants to take accountability after all. Keyblade then leaks his DMs with Susie to a private server. Tippy joins in on trying to paint her as two-faced, of course. Tippy has another alt. If none of you can be adults willingly, fine. I will make you be an adult, and you will take the accountability in the way that you should be taking it, not the way you want to take it. No hiding, no running. You are done. Good riddance.
So you're allowed to do all that and then defend yourself by being like, yeah, I just have the hot take that pedo enablers and shit stains don't deserve my civility, but I'm a piece of shit because I included crab emojis. Okay. Another huge reason as to why I'm bringing this up is that one of the people in the thumbnail, who is also the person whose new account she kept exposing, publicly expressed suicidal ideation prior to Heten's video. And for that matter, everyone else's videos on that fucking situation. She was condemned and publicly chastised for doing that. And her ideation was never really even taken seriously or even acknowledged by Hiten from what I can tell, which is really weird for someone who cared so much about the mental health of a self-admitted sex offender and chronic liar.
Tippy then goes on to sad girl post on Twitter about how sad she is about the fact that she let a predator's dick rider share spaces with his victims.
That's even assuming that Hiten even believes in the person's ideation, because as far as I can tell, she has no problem outright denying that.
Dude, this is just like outright disgusting. And it's not just like Hiten that was like doing this stuff. It's also like Nezzy. Like Nezzy also like, didn't like Nezzy go really hard at Tippy as well? Where it like, Nezzy even took it to the extent of using, Lio as like a weapon. I thought I recall hearing a recording of being like, if you don't do what we say, we're gonna get Lio involved. and you won't like it when Lio gets involved. And it's like, dude, like, why? You guys are absolutely disgusting. Why are you guys, why are you using a 38-year-old man in Texas as a weapon? That guy is just a 38-year-old man in Texas. Like, no one. That guy's a nobody. You shouldn't fucking care about what a 38 You guys shouldn't care what a 38-year-old man thinks. You shouldn't even care what I think. I'm just a 35-year-old woman in Texas. Why are you using him as a weapon? And then for her to like do like this mean girl shit and be like, oh my God, Tippy, you're doing all this like victim card bullshit. Hiten, you do the same exact stuff. Like, get over it. You are what? I just witnessed a video that you put out like what 2 weeks ago where you're saying I have to leave the SCC because it's just so cliquey and you guys are just so mean and just so horrible. Hey, guess what? Newsflash, Hiten, you're the cause of the clicks. You're the #1 cause of that. If you want to sit there and say, hey, whatever happened to the SCC and why is there a downfall and why did we go down this road? Go look in the mirror, toots. That's why. You're the cause of it. You're the problem. You are directly the problem. Bye, bitch. Leave.
She let a predator's dick rider share spaces with his victims.
That's even assuming that Hiten even believes in the person's ideation, because as far as I can tell, she has no problem outright denying the mental health of people she doesn't like. Do I now get to come on here and claim that you're a liar and faking your nervous breakdown because I don't like you? Or worse, because you clarified your safety at a later point in time? You know, that thing that you did to Fran, who was a minor at the time? And again, none
Of course you would, Gilded. You're so funny. Of course you would. You silly.
of this explains why you were so uniquely cruel to me for being a bad victim, because you weren't just condemning my behavior. You were being disgusting. The way that you talked about me, my pain, and my past is only the way that you talk about someone that you hate. This is not what erring on the side of caution and being more cautious than most looks like, Hiten.
Topaz, you are so on point with that comment. That is totally a Nezzy Monster comment. I'm going to tell my daddy on you or he'll kick your ass. That is half of what Lio's little loser friends say when they use Lio as a weapon. I'm going to tell my daddy on you and he'll kick your ass. Yeah. That's what they sound like. It's totally pathetic.
People aren't generally mad at you because you don't think awful people deserve your civility. They're mad at you because you're a giant, loud, obnoxious hypocrite. Hiten, you fucking suck, and I would be embarrassed to be anything like you. But you know what? I'm not going to come on here and say that you're full of shit in terms of saying that you think you care about the safety of others in that way. I'm not even going to say that you have to believe that other person's ideation, but I will ask that you put your...
And there goes Leah slut-shaming me. Sorry, Gilded. I'm so sorry. You should, expose me.
money where your mouth is and either change your behavior to better align with what you say you give a fuck about, or change your outlook on things. Because right now your morals seem entirely conditional. And for someone who touts them as loud and with as much conviction as you, that pisses people off.
This year, several people reached out to me. Aaron Tempest, Lio Convoy, and Ponder Sprocket all came to me and explained the details. Ponder especially. The two of us ended up having a very productive conversation where she explained to me the details of the situation that I had missed. For example, I didn't know that there were two different claimed victims of Feg. From what I'd seen, I thought they were the same person. At the time, I was going off of only Chuli's video, which, as everyone I spoke to agreed, did not convey the story well, which is why a newer video is currently in the works.
I'm going to try and go over this point and not get so fucking angry over what we're about to discuss. So Hiten here is trying to paint things as though my video was poorly done and poorly conveyed the story of my abuse with Faghost. So poorly, in fact, that it was easy to miss key details like the
That "you should expose me" line would be very funny out of context, totally.
fact that Faghost admitted to assaulting 2 girls, not just 1, and that both had taken their own lives. So, okay. let's go ahead and see how I conveyed those details in my original video, which is still public, to see if it would truly be understandable that Hiten missed that detail. As I said, another allegation made in the doc, as well as the pasteman later on, was one of Jay alleging that Phagos sexually assaulted her while making another girl, who we'll call A, watch after trapping them both in a room with them. A was said to have later committed suicide, and the pasteman stipulates that Phagos was mentioned in the note, or at the very least the abuse was. Some may think that seems implausible because they think justice would have come of it, but I believe that's an ignorant view to take on the matter, as the sentencing rate for assailants is extremely low in both the US and in Canada, where Phagos is from, made even worse by the fact that the victims, J and A, were said to have been trans women who the law is already incredibly unkind to, and admitted to being drunk and not only locking both girls in the room with them and groping J, who was drunk and couldn't consent, while the other girl was sober and had to sit and watch, but they also admitted to keeping both girls silent on the matter. No, Hiten.
Wow.
That detail was not poorly conveyed. You just fucking watched the video on mute with your eyes closed. This is not a valid point. This is not a valid excuse, and you and your friends are the only ones who somehow missed all the important details in my video. Even fucking Jar, shit person as he is, got this detail right in his sick and twisted joke about Phagos lies at my expense and at my friend's expense. And you know why? Because it was clear as day in my video.
Oh yeah, Phagos, you know that Ponder won't out people all too well. Like, didn't you make up a story about you sexually assaulting 2 trans women, which pushed them into committing toaster and bath or something? And then Ponder, Dulu, Izzy Hazard, and a few other people just kept their mouths shut about it for the longest time? Yeah, that was a weird thing that happened.
And you know what? Can we go back to what you said the misunderstanding was back in December last year when Ponder and you talked?
She straight up didn't.
Bro, like imagine I'm so perplexed. Like I am just shocked that Just a Robot took an own over Hiten Mitsuru. Bro, Just a Robot W. Just a Robot W. Guys, Just a Robot W's in the chat. Just a Robot W. Just a Robot W. Just a Robot W! Just a Robot W. No, not F. Gilded, not F. Just a Robot W. Jar W. Oh my God, Jar W. We are fans. We're not. I'm kidding. I like, okay, Just a Robot, like he's funny. He gets himself into trouble. He's funny. Exponentially rare. Just a Robot W. Like he took a massive own against Hiten right there. Like, holy crap, that is just insane.
Didn't know that a part of the story was that Jess had also allegedly killed herself, and that this was on us and had been weighing on us for years. She seemed legitimately surprised when I broke everything down and filled her in on the full context of what had been going on. According to her,
Just a Robot Riz? Oh my God, Gilded.
she thought Jess had been arrested, and that was it. And the only girl who killed herself was the one from the beginning, which would have been on Phagos, not us.
So it went from that you knew there were 2 victims, but only one killed themselves during the time of the essay, to now it's that you only thought there was one person the entire time, and that the one person who was essayed was the same person that got arrested? Hiten. Come on. None of what Hiten says about her actions regarding my abuse story are honest. I believe that 100%. She either doesn't remember them genuinely or she's lying on purpose, both being very concerning. With that, I'd like to unpack some of your other lies about my video, like the gaslighting claim. Where the fuck did I ever gaslight Phagos in those screenshots? I can only imagine that the part she's referring to is this part where I show myself trying to explain to Phagos that it doesn't matter if she intended to manipulate my friend Clown or not, because at the end of the day, she tried to manipulate Clown surrounding a situation that had nothing to do with her. I even tried to tell her that a lot of manipulative people don't know that they're being manipulated.
I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't believe somebody like Phagos anyways. Like I don't know. This is where it's like he didn't like. Why are you defending Phagos? And why are you defending them in the first place? Like this is like the situation that I found myself in. Like, I don't know. Why are you defending Phagos? This is just like the indefensible kind of thing. Who cares about Phagos? It's just like a black and white kind of thing. They are an ugly, despicable person. They lied. It needs to be called out. The fact that you would defend them is just absolutely gross.
And that I was
you like he didn't openly admitted it too.
was trying to give her the space to recognize her behavior for what it was and change it. And that's it. That's what Hiten touts as gaslighting. I am not joking. I did not do anything else that could even be perceived as that. I did not grab 3 of my friends and tell them that I sexually assaulted 2 girls and give a one-man show acting out the part of my own fucking victims, and then make those friends feel like shit for no longer being comfortable around me later down the line and accuse them of talking shit about me and hurting me when they believed that lie. That was Faghost. And I didn't jump onto Twitter and tell you, hey Hiten, you need to back the fuck off of Junkie. You're not a victim. You're an evil bitch who wants to take down Junkie, not help the people he's hurt. Your video about him sucks. You gaslit Junkie. Don't you know how emotionally fragile he is? And you're putting him on blast to thousands of people. If he kills himself, it's gonna be your fault. And then turn around years later when people call me out and say, I never defended Junkie. What are you talking about? Stop gaslighting me. No, Hiten, that's you. Now for the talking shit thing that she loves to bring up, Hiten, she's talking about in 2021 when I vented to Clan about how uncomfortable I felt with Faghost with what I knew and how they were acting. Hiten, at the time that happened, I believed Faghost had sexually assaulted 2 trans girls, something that they regularly checked in on me with to make sure I wasn't saying anything. Of fucking course, I was going to confide with one of the only other people that knew about that situation to express how uncomfortable I was with it and how I was being villainized for that. Why are you more focused on me talking behind a sex offender's back as though that makes me some kind of hypocrite when it doesn't? Faghost explicitly lied about me and twisted facts to pit people against me when they went to other people. I didn't do that. So again, why are you more upset about me talking behind a sex offender's back than the fact
Blake, that's true.
that I was having to deal with a sex offender in my friend group? Why the fuck do you care about how a sex offender feels?
Void says Peach's trips so Hiten could flop. So true. In fact, congratulations. You win the comment of the live stream. Your comment is pinned. That is so true. W comment. Love that. Love that comment. Someone give me the TLDR of this stupid shit has happened in the snake community today. I've not been up to date. So right now, Chuli is calling out Hiten Mitsuru for citing or defending Faghost, their abuser, and being completely hypocritical when dramatically leaving the slideshow commentary community. We need to put that on a shirt. Maybe we do. Should we make merch out of it?
About what I say about their acts of...
Should we make merch out of it? I'm getting so many merch ideas from this live stream. It's awesome. Just love it.
sexual misconduct, period. Hello? Is anyone realizing how wildly inappropriate that is? You're gonna say all this horrendous shit about my abuse, and then 2.5 years later, when the fire is on your ass, you're gonna say, oh, well, it was all just a big misunderstanding, and then blame it on my video for not being well done? Seriously? No, Hiten. You said those things about me and pulled that interpretation from my video because you weren't paying attention, because you hated me and you weren't seeing the situation for what it was. So you know what? Way to go. In an attempt to use my original video as a scapegoat for why you were so misinformed on this situation, you outed yourself as a fucking idiot and made the truth of why your threat about me was so specific and dead set on making me look like a fucking demon that much more apparent. Congratulations. And no, there is not a new video in the works because my original video was bad. When Faghost revealed that she had lied about everything for 2 years, it changed the hue of all the abuse and manipulation that she had put us through. It is now necessary and would do us well as the victims to elaborate on just how deep the events of her abuse went, because it would show how she was manipulating us, draining us, and trying to pit my friends against me for her own personal gain. For you and your friends, like Musha, to twist that into an excuse for why you were all so stupidly misinformed about my trauma is just disgusting.
So, when it was explained more clearly, I realized immediately I had done wrong and went to remedy the issue. Ponder proofread my public statement, and I took down the original thread at the request of her and everyone else involved.
Girl, what the hell is going on here? You initially said that last year you sent me that private and public apology, which are dated as November and December of last year. However, now you're saying that Ponder proofread your statement, even though you say she only came to you this year. Hiten, you have the screenshots with the dates listed in them. You have the DM.
So here's the one thing that, here's the one take that I have about Ponder. I don't think Ponder wants to be involved in any of this. I think Ponder, was in that, one call that happened, unfortunately. And then after that call, I don't think they want to be involved at all, because I haven't seen Ponder at all. I think they're just kind of moving on. And it's just guys, I don't think Ponder wants to be around y'all. I think Ponder thinks you guys are all crazy. I think Ponder is just kind of just doing their own thing and just leaving it at that. think Ponder kind of wants to stay away from the drama of Discord.
Of when the people confronted you about the issue. What the fuck are you doing? How are you expecting anyone to believe any of what you're saying when you can't even get the timeline straight with the proof you yourself are using? Now listen, I know that she's wrong about the timeline because I was there for all of it. All of it had to do with me and was directed at me. But other people don't know that.
Maybe Ponder realized their crazy was rubbing off on her and got out once she realized. Maybe.
Why did you release this document with such blatant flaws?
As a matter of fact, the criticized line in the public apology about my mental state was Ponder's suggestion to make my actions clear.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't believe this. This doesn't sound like something Ponder would do. If this really did happen, I would not condone that. I know that Ponder and I have different sensibilities and different boundaries, but still, I don't believe this bet. I asked her about this, and she said she doesn't remember ever saying that, and I'm gonna believe her over the woman who's taken every opportunity she has when talking about my abuse to lie. Moving on.
I've also been told that I defended Feghost, which also never happened. Even in the original thread, I said that what she had done was unhinged and terrible. I've never said otherwise, and I do not know where the claim that I said otherwise is coming from.
You never defended Feghost? Are you fucking kidding me? Hiten, you were a full-on abuse apologist in your original thread. You denounced my video, said that I wasn't a victim of Feghost, said that I gaslit her into thinking she was a bad person, described her as mentally ill and emotionally fragile while calling me a manipulative.
Yeah, Ponder's kind of just been quiet, just like making content. That's it. They haven't really been around the drama.
Spiteful bitch that was playing weeping tragic victim, brought up a mistake I made as a 15-year-old to paint me as having always been a bitch for a long time, said you felt bad for Feghost, likened me to Rachel Mills, a serial abuser and sex pest, spread their narrative uncritically, and told me that bullying them off of their platforms was just as bad as me being stalked as a minor so that I kept silent about SA. And now you want to say that you never defended Feghost and have no idea where that claim is coming from? This is why I don't buy her.
She literally admitted that she defended Feghost. Hey, homies. Why can't I read names today? Hominus. Oh my god, I can't. Hey, Nocturna. I think I need to get my eyes checked. Pudgy says, to be fair, I want to be part of it. Or blah, blah, blah. To be fair, I wouldn't want to be part of it if I was in Ponder's situation. However, I would denounce people who are terrible and distance from them doing my own things. Yes, I would do the same thing too. I would do the exact same thing. Gilded says that is somewhat untrue. Ponder was in that Sasu stream. Yeah, that was like the only thing that I've seen from Ponder was being in the Sasu Frasu call. That's it. But since the Sasu Frasu call, they've kind of been quiet. In fact, I haven't seen much from the Cat Slayer. Leia's been making toy content.
Apologies. You refuse to be honest about what you did, and it makes it seem as though every apology you give, you have no idea what the hell you're actually meant to be apologizing for. Even though I literally unblocked you when I called you out in April and put all of your transgressions against me on blast, publicly. You have no excuse. And then you want to be like, oh, well, in my initial thread, I said that what she had done was bad. Like, oh, what? So now you can reference specific things you said in your thread? Now when you think you can use it to defend yourself? But now when it comes to being specific about the myriad of ways in which you were disgusting and lied about me, I don't care if it would have made your apology too long. Because it just goes to show how much you treated me like shit. And guess whose fault that is? It is absolutely ridiculously revealing to me that ever since you made your thread, you have been incredibly
Lio plays with toys just like some of my ex-girlfriends. Oh my god.
vague about the things you said, and have only gone into specifics when you're defending personal stances or trying to pretend that you actually did see how awful Feghost was. The one time you condemned Feghost at all in that thread was at the very end for one sentence in an addendum that you added after the fact. You can
Hey, Thuman.
yap all you want. Your actions still revealed your true feelings.
I also didn't speak about Chuli in 2022 because of an argument in a Discord server about a YouTuber drama from 2019. Anyone who has been around me or my content knows that these are values I've always held regarding anyone. I didn't like Jar victory lapping on my behalf regarding Junkie or Spocter. I don't like the comments about pushing someone unstable from Lio. These are not things exclusive to Chuli and never have been.
Can we see how you reacted on Twitter or in your videos to Jar and Lio doing that? Because the only time you have ever publicly talked about either of them doing that, from what I can find, is this tweet about Jar. I want
Hey, for the second effing time, because some people didn't listen, stop coming to me about Junkie. I don't care what Jar and Spocter or anyone says. I don't give a crap. I'm not following it. I'm trying to leave it. Unlike some people, I'm not interested in a victory lap. Stop. I want to talk about the Feghost thing real quick. Oh my God, you are so directly contradicting yourself. Like, literally, stop.
Everyone to look at these two reactions and see if they can find any differences in how she reacted to Jar versus how she reacted to me. You cannot
Holy
talk about me how you
crap.
did, make me the villain of the entire situation, deny my victimhood, and say you feel bad for everyone involved except me, and act like this wasn't personal. It was. You made that so fucking clear. You felt bad for the self-admitted sex offender and chronic liar, no questions, because they have mental health issues, but not me, because I guess I posted too many crabs on Twitter. And I said that you made it that way because of the hatred you had for me because of that argument in 2019, because it was the first thing you immediately brought up and lied about me with in an attempt to justify why we no longer spoke to each other. So yes, maybe the actions you say you didn't like were not exclusive to me, but the way you talked about me and the morals you pushed onto me absolutely were. And I am so tired of you acting like that whole thread wasn't you acting out your grudge and hatred on me now that you're getting flamed. I don't know what to tell you. You showed your ass in this situation and yet you still want to act so flabbergasted on where people are getting this from.
I've said time and time and time again that I'm a flawed individual, and I know where my weaknesses lie. It's why I always consider myself
I don't think you do, Hiten. I don't think you actually do.
open to criticism. One of those
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's actually funny. Oh my God, Hiten. Hiten, I don't think you're open to criticism. Thuman says, you know what blows my mind with this story? Julie was 15 when Fae Freak was making up lies about R-wording people. Like, what the fuck? I know. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. I didn't know that they were 15, though. That is still insane. And Hiten, like, still defended that person. Like, why would you defend someone like that? I would never in my right mind defend somebody like that. Never. That's like an automatic no. No, thank you. Stay away.
is an issue with impulsivity that I have been actively trying to curb, and did so by taking my time to have everything in order before I responded to everything.
Is that what you call this document? This document is you having everything in order. Seriously.
Unfortunately, bad actors continue to try and gaslight me into believing I said things I never said or ascribe intent to me that I never had. But also, unfortunately, there's not a lot of veil when it comes to me. I'm a direct and honest person, so you can usually assume what I said is what I meant, good or bad.
No, you aren't, Hiten. No, you are not. You have lied so much about me in just this document alone. Never mind the multitude of times you have since the beginning. You have been proven to not be truthful with how you talk about me and your involvement in what I've been through. I don't care if it's malintent or reckless disregard. It's fucked up and I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of you. You want to end off this shitfest of a document by being like, you can really just assume what I mean most of the time because I'm just so honest. When everything I've said about your intent and actions is based on words that you've said. But instead of just apologizing for those things, you're lying about the timeline of events and how you acted in them. Telling people that I'm a bad actor, that I'm lying about your intent and painting you as a monster. I have not lied about your intent and painted you as a monster like you have done so to me. The only person that has lied about me and painted me as a monster and tried to pit my friends against me like you is Fighost, okay? So how dare you be like, oh, I'm just too honest, it's a fault. Fucking act like it.
You're not too honest. Like, he didn't... If you were honest in your video about Ephraim, you would have said that he made a video or that she made a video, and you didn't even say that. You said that Ephraim took a ton of non-action. You couldn't even be honest about the very basic facts of the situation. And that's on you. And you're disgusting. Thuman says, I'm still working on the video. People keep being dishonest in their interviews, so I'm taking it. So it's taking longer than expected, but please keep going back to the change in script. Plus I have work, so I'm not too much free time. That's okay, Thuman. I'm willing to wait. Patience, you go tell those people that are not willing to wait. Patience is a virtue. And Leigha Something says, wait your little booties. Wait your little booty. Okay? I'm willing to wait. I am excited for your video. I'm excited. I'm willing to wait. Nezzy and Susie were both dishonest. Not surprised. Not surprised. But willing to wait for your video. I am excited for your video.
I absolutely refuse to have people tell me that I am something I am not ever again, but I am also willing to admit that I haven't been an angel. I never pretended I was. That's that on that, I guess. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Hiten, you need to never do this again. I legitimately don't understand how someone can act like you. You see, despite the fun I had on Twitter finally getting to put Hiten on blast for all of her bullshit, Fighost abuse of me and my friends.
If I add you as bad cop, will you stop saying slurs, Pooper Man? Yeah, stop saying slurs. Stop saying them.
friends and the shit that you did to me is pretty painful to talk about. And it's certainly not fair for me to have to come on here and talk about it because you refuse to tell the truth. Yes, you're allowed to respond to the allegations I put forth against you, but when you do nothing but lie about my abuse in that response and deflect and put blame onto me, it's totally reasonable for me to say that's enough. Because you refuse to come out here and just admit to and own up to not only your role in doing the things that you've done, but lying about your involvement in them and causing people to say
Thuman, I never say slurs. I'm so offended. It's true. He doesn't say slurs in my chat. I will say that. He does not say slurs in my chat. Zad says, I gotta go, Leah, but have a great stream. Also, y'all better like the stream. Also, Leah, I send something in our DMs, gives you happiness. Thank you, Zad. I'll check it out after stream. Thank you.
disgusting things about me over your lies, then yeah, I have the full right to say that I don't want you talking about this anymore. And I'm glad that you've been sticking to that. And I hope it stays that way after this video comes out, because Lord knows I'm tired of you and I'm tired of your friends. That's why I don't want an apology. But God save your soul, you better fucking remember how to give one if you ever think about crossing a bitch like me again. I do not want to hear a single peep out of you, especially because your document had the same effect that your original thread did in 2021, where now people are acting like I'm just a crazy bitch for still being mad at you and calling you out, going as far as to speculate that I must be letting paranoia from Phagos abuse take control of me, and that's why I'm acting up. So
That's disgusting. That is so disgusting. What is that? What kind of comment?
acting like I'm just a crazy bitch for still being mad at you and calling you out, going as far as to speculate that
Again, I have to ask, where the F did this come from? Like, before last month, Hiten was respecting Chuli's wish to be left alone, and Chuli was tweeting about Doja Cat. I'm not a psychologist, so take what I say with a giant grain of salt. This could be a byproduct of Phagos a word towards Chuli and Clown. Chuli could be letting paranoia take control. That is absolutely gross. And we know how bad it is when paranoia takes the ween. This is 100% victim blaming, guys. You're victim blaming. Sora, you are victim blaming. This is victim blaming right here.
I must be letting paranoia from Phagos abuse take control of me, and that's why I'm acting up. Some people from the Cat Slayer, and back when it was the Senate, and another server known as the Supreme Court, in particular, have said things that are remarkably similar to things you said about me and caused others to say about me in 2021. Like the idea that I'm just obsessed with being right, obsessed with Hiten, wondering and puzzling why I'm so concerned about the situation and arguing what Hiten says about it. Gee, I don't fucking know, guys. Maybe because Hiten has used every time she's talked about my abuse to lie. Maybe if you guys would empathize with me for half a second, you might understand that I would want to fight back against that. And as for the complaint that I'm being too mean and spiteful towards Hiten, I'm sorry, did we all forget who we're talking about?
You are going to die! I am going to kill you! I spend the rest of my life trained up. I am poisoned.
Unlike you swooning prima donna wannabes, you can shove it up your fat ass for all I care. You are low-life, backstabbing scum at best, and duplicitous, manipulative dangers at your worst. The only thing I didn't do was reopen my DMs with the scaly lizard fucker who hurt me. You are bumbling, simpering weaklings. Shut the fuck up. Good God. Spoilers, if you weren't a fucking scumbag in private, we wouldn't make these things community issues. I don't want your disingenuous, half-hearted, slimy, bitch boy apology.
Hey, I asked Aaron to send you this because I really don't want to get into call. And if you could sum it up here, neither of us like each other and neither of us need the stress. All aside from that, I did do wrong by you. I do want to sincerely apologize. In my initial thread, I insinuated that you were suffering with what Faye did to you, and that was wrong of me regardless of how I felt about your actions. Otherwise, I should have never downplayed your pain. I was catty and disrespectful. So they even admit themselves that they are a Regina George. Hiten themselves admit they are Regina George. Look at the Regina George, guys. And disrespectful, and as someone who had it done to them, I should have known better, but you still did it. I'm so sick and tired of hearing the excuse from grown adults of, I should have known better, but you still did it. You still did it. You still did it. That's all that matters. You should have known better. Hey, guess what? You still did it. That's all that matters. Fact, you still did it. so tired of hearing, I should have known better. I'm so tired of hearing, I don't know what's wrong with me. Hey, guess what? You still did it. That doesn't negate the action. I try to hold myself better to, I try to hold myself to a better standard now, and I want to continue to do it by taking accountability with people I've lashed out at. I don't expect forgiveness. Ugh, eye roll. I don't expect a reply. You have every right not to. I just want to let you know I'm genuinely apologetic. Right, whatever.
I don't want your disingenuous, slimy bitch boy apology either, Spock. My Legionnaires have said multiple times they like my more harsh.
You want to know how many times I've heard a genuine apology before? I could be a billionaire. I could be a millionaire. Exactly, Blake. Sure, Jan. Right. I've heard so many apologies. I've even heard this week the teary-eyed, I'm genuinely sorry, Leah. I don't know what's wrong with me. Whatever. I'm so sick and tired of apologies. It's just like, yikes, you're a gross person. I don't want you around. I don't care about your apology. You're gross. Fuck off. That's that.
Aggressive tone. Fuck off, Jumpy. Go fuck yourself. Goodbye. God forbid I say mean words about someone who tried to ruin my fucking life. Get the fuck out of here. I will make you be an adult, and you will take the accountability in the way that you should be taking it, not the way you want to take it. No hiding, no running. You are done. Good riddance. I point this out, and Tippy tries to shout me down, which is a losing battle 100 times out of 100. I am always going to be louder than you.
I think that most, if not all, of the people complaining about my attitude in this mess are just mad that I knocked Hiten down with the energy she carries for everyone she goes after. Honest to God, all I can say is sucks to suck. Sorry I outscreamed your
Yeah, that's so true. Sucks to suck.
Scream Queen. You know, I could have gone harder in this video. I really feel like if I talked about Hiten in this video the way she talked about everyone else, there probably would have been riots in the SCC streets. I've already gotten on the bad side of these Discord servers as showcased, and pretty much all of Heten's friends blocked me. Fuck, half the SCC blocked me, which is wild considering none of them did that shit when she acted how she did towards me. Probably because a lot of them agreed with her. Why? No idea. Maybe I should try being a fucking white girl instead. Maybe that would help. Because I've been meaning to point out for a while that I find it really funny that my melanated ass is one of the only people in this pasty corner of the internet that ever has to deal with civility politics. I've known for a while that these communities have had some weird race issues, but after I called out a white creator right before—
Wait, there's really like race issues? Like, are you serious? Like, you have to like tone police yourself? I don't think you should have to tone police yourself. Hey, as like a fellow art community detractor, I feel like the art community should like, I feel like there should be anarchy. Don't tone police yourself. You just say whatever you want to say. Okay. Don't be tone policing yourself. Okay. Just a heads up.
Hiten for banning even the mildest of pro-Palestine activism from his stream and complaining about it. I got jumped by several white creators in both public and private.
As a fellow Jewish person, if you are pro-Palestine, go ahead. Go say whatever you want to say. Okay? Pro-Palestine, go say it. If you are pro-Israel, go say that. Say whatever you want to say. Go off. Go say it. Why are we banning pro-Palestine stuff?
And was politely explained to that these creators had the right to ban anti-genocide statements from their platforms because they'd rather not think about it. Yeah, I wonder if those same people have any kind of problem with someone who looks like me being abrasive and not catering to all of this nonsense. I don't even have to wonder that much.
No, don't say nuke Palestine. Gilded, don't say that. Gilded, don't say that. Gilded, you're going to get me canceled. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. We don't want to nuke Palestine.
much because people in the Cat Slayer have already stated that me bringing up my traumatic past is me pretending that I'm the only one with trauma, especially in the POC community, whatever the fuck that is. Everything over these past few years has just proven to me that I should have never gotten involved with this corner of the internet. And I honestly just feel sorry for my younger self that I ever had the misfortune of getting tangled up with a group of people so callous and unempathetic towards me that they treated me like absolute shit during my most vulnerable time and continue to try and gaslight me for being hurt like I have. I also need to reiterate strongly here that while I am the youngest victim of Phagos, as far as we know, I am not the only victim, and I'm
Don't worry, I'll defend you from cancellation. I'm very popular in lefty circles. They love me. Yeah. Okay.
offering Clown Teeth a spot to speak their truth on the situation and how the community, how Hiten, ruined so much for us with how horrible they were. I also offered a feature to Ponder's Rocket, one of the only other victims that we know of, for her to do the same, but she refused at this time, citing that she is afraid of her upset and feelings being flipped to use against her in the future. And given how I've seen that very thing happen, I don't hold it against her. This entire mess has left Ponder with a ton of trust issues that simultaneously leave her not wanting to believe people, but also trying not to assume the worst. She's working past it at her own pace, but given the magnitude of everything, it's a little bit more difficult than one might imagine. With that out of the way, here is Clown Teeth.
Hello. So I'm just going to keep things brief in my statement and go over the things that are relevant to me only. My opinion on Hiten is very similar to Chuli's for obvious reasons. Frankly, I have been very angry and upset with her since her initial thread. I'm going to try to keep myself calm as I explain my viewpoints on this woman's deplorable actions. Starting off with the initial parts of the thread where I am mentioned. She says, verbatim, that this was my story to tell. Chuli doesn't get to play the tragic weeping victim for supporting me going through a hard time, then says she feels bad for me and Phagos. First of all, while it is true I faced the brunt of Phagos' manipulation and wrath, you want to guess what most of those conversations were usually about? When Chuli set a boundary Phagos couldn't violate, she ran to me to make my life hell because she couldn't get the closure.
It's so, like, how is the art commentary community racist? I'm just curious. I'm interested. Why do we think the art commentary community is racist? I'm not trying to, like, the only reason why I ask is I'm not trying to get a gotcha. I'm really curious. I want to know what the perspective is. I can explain because I saw it during the Kai and Omnia stuff. There were people making live streams calling them N-words. That's disgusting. A lot of other horrible shit. Wow. I mean, that's... Ow. That's like shocking. Just based off of their color. That's the color of their skin. That's just like, wow. And Omnia, like, that was like a really traumatic experience for Omnia. And for people just to like call her that. That's disgusting. Didn't Thuman get called slurs for drawing Kiki black? Are you serious? Thuman, has that ever happened to you? If Thuman is still in chat. Yeah, it did. Wow, I'm so sorry, Thuman. I didn't think the art commentary community was that toxic. That's disgusting. They drew racist stuff? I made a video on it. Oh my God. How is that even remotely acceptable? Like, that is just... That is shocking. Holy crap. Omnia uses they, them. Oh, I apologize. I'm so sorry, Loon. Thank you for correcting me. Thankfully, it's fine now. They were mostly trolls from the alt-right form. Okay. Well, I'm sorry if talking about it makes you feel uncomfortable now, or if it kind of triggers you. So I'm sorry, Thuman. I was just curious. I was just wondering. I did not know it was ever like that. That's just, wow. That's, wow.
She demanded. She would go off about how Chuli was shit-talking when she wasn't, and how her actions of confiding in me about her being a
That just, like, I don't know. That kind of just, like, just hearing that just motivates me to make sure, like, I'm inclusive. I don't like hearing stuff like that. Like, I get, like, comments because, like, I'm Jewish or because I sound trans. And it doesn't hurt me because, like, I'm tough as a rock. Like, I get through it. Like, it toughens me up, right? But it just, all it does is just motivate me to become inclusive with my channel. It's just, it's really sad just hearing that. You would never think that the art commentary community was ever like that. And to hear that it was like that is just like, whoa. It's just a culture shock. Kind of. It's all right. Okay, that's good. Now I want to give you a hug. I'm such a loser. I want to give Thuman a hug now. Hug! I'm sorry, Thuman.
possible sex offender was going
I'm such a dork.
too far. Hell, I even remember a call I had with her where she demanded I say either yes or no when asking if Chuli's actions were out of pocket. So no, Hiten, it wasn't just my story. So how dare you say that Chuli isn't a victim and put me on top of the mountain of shit you threw at her? I don't know if it was because I had no qualms with her or anyone else who was spewing such disgusting shit, but it shouldn't fucking matter, and I cannot believe this has to be said. Why were you so determined to protect a chronic liar's mental health? Which, speaking of that, please, for the love of God, stop insinuating I need to cater to Phagos' mental health. I do not care what—
Gilded, give us a yes, queen. Gilded, say yes, queen, please. He's gonna be like, Leah, fuck off.
She does. I do not care about anything she wants. Look what happened when I did care for her. I was strung along like a puppet and was manipulated when she
said, Gilded said no. He's like, no, fuck off.
She wasn't getting what she wanted. All the while
No, Gilded said no. I'm not gonna make a grown man say no. Gilded's like, no. Gilded, go make a steak. Go do something manly. Go shoot a gun. I'm just kidding. I mean so mean. Am I being mean to Gilded? Gilded, am I being mean to you? No, I'm not being mean to Gilded. I'm just joshing jokes with him. You're sweet, Leah. It was 3 years ago. I feel like that's gotten much better now. That's good. I'm being bullied by a Jew. I know. You're being slut-shamed by me, and now you're being bullied by me. Free Palestine. Yes, free Palestine in the chat, please.
Lying about everything just to fuck with my emotions for her own sick reasons. She never cared for me. Not a single moment do I believe she saw me as a friend. Just someone she could mess with. I don't need your moral grandstanding on what you think is right or wrong and calling out abusive people. Please shut up. What made this even more frustrating is I had people who were so supportive of my art and praised me after this whole shit show went down, only to find out they liked and supported Heaton's thread. This is just to set the record straight, but do you all think I wouldn't know? That I wouldn't be uncomfortable with being praised while my best friend was completely shut down and shamed? Am I living in the Twilight Zone? Because that's what it felt like. To express the emotions I was going through, I was constantly questioning my own victimhood. It felt like I was getting put on a pedestal that I didn't want, and the severity of what Phagos did to us was not being taken seriously. I was in a state of disbelief that only grew after she posted her Spoctor video. I was anxious all the time, I had constant headaches, just in a state of doubting myself and just shitting on myself for not doing enough. All the while, I had to sit in silence while Hiten was praised, protected, and had her voice elevated. I didn't feel like I could call Phagos my abuser, that I didn't have the right to even use a term that heavy. And I felt guilty. I just felt guilty that my friend was being painted as this horrible person while I just got the opposite reaction. I was angry. And I'm still angry. If I had trust issues then, they would have skyrocketed even more after all these horrible years. What's even crazier is that this isn't the only time Hiten has mentioned me or said things to me. On April 7th, 2023, I posted a video called My 2017 Trauma, which was basically me coming out about what had happened behind the scenes during my drama after Lyle Convoy posted a video regarding people from my past. In that video, I shared a lot of the dark and traumatic things that a lot of people didn't know about since it was mostly offline. It was very hard for me to come out about, but I knew I had to because it was the first time in years where I felt I wasn't crazy. Hiten, I guess, because she played an integral part in my drama, commented on my video saying the following: I'm glad you're out of that situation. You have become a better and stronger person. Where your pain manifested doesn't matter. It's still valid. I'm glad you're—
It's kind of like spitting in their face. Like this kind of comments. This kind of comment right here is like disingenuous and spitting in their face. I'm glad you're out of that situation. Yeah, like I'm glad they're out of it too. But sitting here and being like, you've become a better and stronger person. Like, shut up. Shut up.
You're free and safe. Wish you nothing but healing and happiness. I have never deleted a comment so fast. Her thread was up for 2 years at this point. She still stood by it. She just sent this with such compassion that I was just horrified. It's terrifying how impulsive she is with her anger, how she could go off about Chuli, and she wasn't just being harsh, she was being genuinely disgusting. Then comes to me all super kind, like, how can you be so kind to me when you knew damn well you shamed my friend and stood up for my abuser? This was—
Because it's fake it until you make it. That's why. Let's be fake. I had somebody, like there have been so many times. There have been so many times. So many times. So many times in my personal life where somebody has hated me for the longest time. And then something happens where I'm vindicated. And then all of a sudden, the person that hates me wants to come up and cozy up next to me and be my friend. And you know what I do? I smile. I smile and I look them in the eye and just keep smiling. And I see that person for who they really are. They are a fake ass motherfucker. And you sit there and you see the value that they are. You see them. You see them for a split second. And you see them for the fake ass motherfuckery that they are. And that's— you're quiet. That's all you have. You're quiet. You don't have anything to say. All you do is just have this smile on your face, because that's all you have is their fake ass behavior. It's funny. Funny how people act.
Was proof to me that she was just completely dishonest. It felt like a slap in the face. Oh, this trauma you went through? Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish you nothing but happiness. But this other one? Nah, your friend was actually the manipulative one. I feel bad for you and your abuser. Like, what on earth? If I had to be honest, and this is just my opinion, so take this with a massive grain of salt, Heten's whole I'll scream louder persona is a red flag to me. Especially since this isn't who she actually is. When that same energy was brought onto her with hard truths and evidence, she crumbled, saying, I'll be lucky if I don't end up in the hospital, take your W, I guess, which was just so passive-aggressive. I think the reason I'm so put off by this persona she has is that I grew up in an environment with a parental figure who would scream over me if I dare try to call out the negative things they did to me. I was screamed at, talked over, shut down, and made to feel like I was the one at fault for being upset. So when I see a person like her with an audience that gets hyped for her to yell at people, it's just gross to me. This is not something to be proud of. In my opinion, I think she either needs to realize this angry energy isn't healthy or just stop entirely. She pointed it at the wrong person and made a complete ass out of herself as a result. Hiten was totally fine with defending insults against a neurodivergent woman during the Rosa call. She was okay with bullying someone because she didn't like them and it was under the notion that they did something terrible. Rosa is no saint, mind you, but no one deserves to go through that. Compare that to this situation where she held onto a—
Totally agree. I totally agree with Clown.
grudge with a then 16-year-old Chuli over a situation she escalated, but regardless, she thought Chuli did something awful. She held on to that for years, to the point she was willing to defend their abuser over them. Her bias harms people she needs to stop. And finally, just to get this out of the way, Artemimusha is a cowardly loser. I responded to his recent thread where he was calling Chuli's tweets, showing Heaton's disgusting actions with evidence as a social media meltdown, while also vaguely wishing bad things to happen to them. You know, the most totally normal thing to say. I was very not happy, so I quoted him, calling him out on the shit he did, and he responded to me. Won't lie, there were parts that messed with my head. Anxiety sucks. I wasn't able to save the response because he locked his account because people chewed him out for how fucking insane he was being. The main parts that are important are claiming he removed the segment in the video I brought attention to due to wanting to stand by his morals. He thinks I would know this? And even if it was removed, you never apologize and you're still vilifying Chuli, so what the fuck? Your morals are just non-existent, so stop clenching for them. He talked like he was playing 4D chess by not bringing up key details, then proceeded to say, "Clown, you're smarter than this," before giving me grief about showing the same aggression he had issues with, ending it with him saying that he and the other victims of Rei Kohai didn't appreciate me dragging her name into this. My brother in Christ, you started this shit. You mentioned Chuli in your Rei video. You compared Chuli to Rei in your thread. How the hell is that my fault? You want to paint me as some stupid idiot for being angry, but at least I'm not the degenerate who compared a victim to not one, but 3 serial abusers, which included V Omega. Even when people called you out, you tried to say, well, I compared the—
Wait, what? Are you serious? We're making comparisons to V Omega? Why are we doing that? And why is that even remotely okay? What it like oh my god, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills now. Like, this is what we've resulted to, guys. What is going on? What is going on?
them because they were all letdowns. Yeah, letdowns because they ended up being sex pest abusers, my dude. Just stay gone. You are just a vile human being. I fully respect that Hiten is not going to watch this video. I was in her position many years ago. Even though I made the choice to watch the videos made on me, it left me even more traumatized, so I understand her stance completely. All I want is that she never talks about the Fago stuff ever again. Not even retweets or shout.
Guys, I don't think it's like ever appropriate to ever compare people to like V Omega or to Toon Critic or to anyone or to Cine, to even to like Grislybaer. Like, don't ever compare people to that. Like, those people are absolutely disgusting. They're vile. They're predatory. They're gross. Like, don't compare at all. Those people. At all. Wait, we still going? Yeah, totally. We are. We totally are. Yeah, this is just like making the comparisons, especially when it comes to victims and like making those comparisons to like people that are predatory people on the internet, especially. It's just like, that's gross. That is just so gross. The cowgirls lost. Totally. So glad. So glad. Don't like the cowgirls.
Shoutouts. Just silence. I don't want her talking about Chuli ever again as well. I just want her, as Chuli said years ago, to stay in her lane. I don't want her support. I don't even feel comfortable being in any space with her present, period now. Even members of the Senate victim shame Chuli once her tweets got traction because Hiten is oh so loved. Before anyone says anything, no, I'm not blaming Lio for this at all. He's not responsible for watching every Discord user in his server like a hawk. That would be insanely unreasonable. For the sake of my own mental health, I just need to be away from these spaces and just the community at large. Especially since people in the Supreme Court, God, these fucking names, were trying to paint Chuli and me as mentally unwell.
Dude, I love this. I love this response.
Calling this out. It hit me a bit harder personally. Like, I can laugh off the pain, but there's just a part of me who felt genuinely hurt by the fact people think me standing alongside my best friend is me going through paranoia as a result of Fagos abuse. Jesus Christ. I stated in the past I didn't want anything to do with this community anymore, and the main reason I orbited was because of fucking Fagos. Because she can never leave us the fuck alone. I stand by Chuli and will continue to. Not just because I'm also a victim of Fagos, but this whole thing was a complete injustice and deserves to be publicly known. This isn't just some petty squabble that can be resolved in a private call. This is a person who is a walking hypocrite and vile enough to victim shame a person over petty reasons. I hope to God that people understand us and that the truth is out there, because I would very much like to feel some sort of normalcy in my life again. I will talk about Phagos again in greater detail in the future, but for now, all I can say is this. Julie has been there for me since 2017. She has helped me during my darkest times and helped me gain the confidence to stand up for myself after dealing with so many awful people in my life. I think the least I can do is return the favor and support her through this. Please support Julie. She has faced so many horrible things being said towards her and that she did not deserve. She faced so many terrible people trying to strip away her victimhood. I'm frankly sickened by it. All of this disgusting shit over 2 tweets telling her abuser to fuck off. Hiten and everyone else should feel genuinely ashamed of themselves. Hiten, I hope to God you learned a hard lesson after this. I never want to see you ever again. I don't want any support from you, nothing. Please gain some self-awareness and focus on more positive things.
They won't gain self-awareness. Clown W, total clown W. All right. So before we continue on,